Ever wonder what happens inside your lens when you turn the camera on? Well, there's a silent dance of glass. And if it's not choreographed right, well, it's Crash City. What might seem dry at first is actually a smart behind-the-scenes upgrade that could make your next lens not only faster and tougher, but way more reliable. Let's go ahead and break it down step by step. And if you're serious about staying ahead of the latest camera gear, hit that subscribe button. It keeps this channel growing while it keeps you in the loop. In Canon's patent application, JP 2025-079537, filed on November the 10th, 2023, and published May the 22nd, 2025, Canon claims to provide a lens barrel of quickly avoiding collision at the time of reset, driving the moving lens frames, having an overlapping area in their moving ranges with a simple configuration. Oh boy, and if you understood that, then God bless you, because I had to run through that several times. That machine translation from Japanese engineers and lawyers doesn't always translate very well to English, and in that case, it's just a mess. But if you focused on collision, you got a big part of it. The actual definition is pretty simple, and the problem they're trying to solve, well, it's a good one, because the big benefit here is more about performance. And that's because modern zoom lenses often have multiple lens elements. We're talking about zoom and focus groups. They move back and forth when the camera powers up, but there is one catch. Sometimes these parts share the same internal space, known as the overlapping region. And that makes things rather tricky. Okay, so we've got collision and we have an overlapping region. Kind of reminds me of Star Trek, the original series, where they talked about the neutral zone. It was a neutral area, but nobody could really go into it. That kind of makes me wonder if they actually understood what neutral actually meant in the context of a neutral zone. Anyhow, let's get back to the patent application. Now, if those internal lens elements don't time their movements just right during startup, bam, or shattering glass sound, they can collide, like two trains on a single track. Now, this doesn't usually smash anything, but it certainly slows down the startup and, in some cases, can actually damage the lenses. Canon's certainly not the first to tackle this, and others have tried different strategies. Now, depending on the price point, at the more affordable range, around, let's say, $1,000 or less, usually the approach is to slow things down. If we slow things down, do things in order, well, nothing's going to collide, and it's around $1,000, so no one's going to whine and complain about missing their shot. Now, for some more expensive lenses, well, there are many different approaches that are tried. But others, they might use fancy position sensors. And the word fancy should let you know that those things aren't going to be cheap. And Canon's approach? To keep it simple. And you know what? I like simple. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you might realize that this is probably fitting into Canon's goals and objectives of producing smaller, more compact, lighter lenses and camera bodies to reduce the number of components, to reduce the price and the cost, but also improve upon the optics. Again, we're focusing on faster here, so how are they doing that? Reducing some components? Well, here's what they've actually done. Canon's added basic photosensors to detect where each lens group is. Now, these are just zones, not exact GPS coordinates down to a fraction of a millimeter. And the brains of the lens, the control unit, then figures out what to move first, how fast, or if one group should pause for a fraction of a second. This way, the two lens groups can move at the same time without smashing into each other. And in a way, it's kind of like air traffic control. There's that much complexity there. It's about controlling what comes in and moves first. And if you don't do it right, well, bad things happen inside the lens, just like they do in real life. So what does this mean to you? Well, what it really means is you're going to see faster response times when starting up with a lens. And this is good news. And this isn't just at the high end. We're going to start to see this at the low end. This builds into Canon's strategy, as I just said in the last segment, about producing smaller, lighter lenses. So having a smaller footprint, well, that's good because they can fit more of them onto a skid that can go into a plane or in a ship. And that means you can get more items for the same price. And because the weight is lower, well, that's also a good thing for shipping as well, because not just can you get more things onto a skid, but the weight isn't going to cost you as much. And that's a really good thing. Now, the other thing that Canon's trying to do is to improve the optics as well as reduce the number of components. Reducing the number of components and using different materials fits to other objectives, and that's not only to reduce the cost of construction, but to rely on less parts so you have less failures in the construction cycle of getting parts to source for your material, but it also results in, well, improving the optics. And that's a good thing. It improves the user experience. And if we can manage to get a better lens for the same price, I mean, today looking for the same price is kind of golden, let alone the price going up, right? Better optics, same price or lower price, something that's more durable is going to last you a little longer and a little bit quicker. I think that's good news. I think that's really great news. And based on what I read and seen in the designs here, it's not just aimed at high end, it's really aimed at the low end as well. And it's aimed at a lot of those complex zoom lenses, like even more affordable lenses. And when it comes to zoom, this is very affordable, the 200 to 800 millimeter. You try getting an L series version of that, and you're going to find that very quickly things go up in the multiples of 5 figures. So I personally am really excited by this. But the big question is, who is this patent application, the customer experience, who is Canon aiming that at? Well, I would have to say that the big win comes for wildlife photographers or videographers, as well as sports photographers, people who need split-second readiness, and I guess videographers who hate waiting for the lens to reset. And that is the key part. Now, if you've got plenty of batteries and plenty of, what was I saying? Plenty of batteries, sure, you can just leave your camera on and have it always be ready, never going to sleep, never using power save, always ready immediately without losing a single second. And in some cases, that's going to work. Unless, of course, you're shooting in the Arctic, then every time you take your hands out of your gloves, you're really cooling down. And believe it or not, just 5 seconds of focus in -40 or below, you're going to start to feel that. And if you're changing batteries out, you don't want to be exposing yourself. That didn't sound right. Anyhow, what did you think of this patent application? When I first saw it, I thought, this one is so simple, it's so easy. I don't think I'm going to get more than 1,500 viewers. So if you're viewing, thank you. But then I thought, but it's also a simple one. And I like the simple ones, and I wanted to bring you that one. Part of it is for me testing to see how well this does. If this video actually gets anywhere from 2,500 to 4,000 views throughout a 24-hour period, the first 24-hour period, well, then I'll be impressed. And it shows that not just you, but many other people are well, interested by these patent applications. I do like covering them. And one of the greatest things about them is when I have a slow day like I do today, I can actually record 5 of them back to back. And last week I did that. Some of those are coming out in July. This one here, I'm not sure, maybe this one will come out in early July as well. And that's the thing I like about patent applications, is when things are slow, I can throw them in there. If things get busy, I can toss them into the next week or the next month. They're always going to be valuable. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching. It's very much appreciated. One thing I do ask though is if you're interested If you're interested in joining, you've wondered about joining this channel and what it means, well, at $1.99 a month, you get the loyalty badges. And what else? You get the camera emojis for the 5 most popular brands. And for $9.99 a month, you get to join the Insider Club. And what we do there is at least, usually once a week, I'll provide a video behind the scenes. And I think what I'm going to do this time around is I'm going to include this entire stretch here, everything, so you can see what the unedited copy looks like. And that's a little bit of what I do behind the scenes. Sometimes I'm just basically taking insider questions. You ask me questions, I do a video on that item. And the other thing that I'm looking forward to starting up shortly is, well, doing private live streams. And instead of a typical live stream, I'll invite those of you as members who would like to join, and you can have a conversation. We can talk, we can discuss, do it like a Zoom call. And if you really like that experience, then maybe we can use this as getting you, as we say, baptized in the world of live streaming and invite you into one of my major public announcements. Anyhow, thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, a great week, and we'll see you again soon.